Hey everyone, my name is Cass, and I run a project called Cyborganic Corporation, which creates digital art, video games, music, and code as part of my mission to explore the possibilities of human expression through technology. This month I entered into the Pirate Software Game Jam with my solo development project, Dark Mart. It's a top-down style combat game where the player has to defeat enough monsters in a map to complete the level. Then there's a shop phase where they can upgrade their abilities and prepare for the next battle. Today I want to talk a little bit about my process behind developing this game. So let's get right into it. One thing that was unique to the Pirate Software Game Jam is that they ask you to include a design document for your game. What is a design document? It's a document that you use to explain the different parts of your game. In my case, I followed an example design document from a previous year of the Game Jam. I included things like an introduction, game summary pitch, list of inspirations from other games, the software used in development, and explanations of the primary concepts and mechanics. Creating and maintaining this document does take away a little bit of time from development work, but I still think that it's highly beneficial. It helps you to keep your thoughts organized, and you can also track your progress as you develop your game. In a timed project like a game jam, managing your time is extremely important. I spent pretty much all of days 1 and 2 just brainstorming ideas for the game, taking notes while thinking about how I wanted to approach it and use my time. I decided that I wanted to use my own assets in order to create the game. This was a difficult decision because it really slows down your development time to create a bunch of stuff from scratch for your game. However, I think that in a game jam, you as a developer have an opportunity to work on your skills by doing things for yourself. It's a great opportunity to improve and get some experience doing things that you don't know how to do. Next time around, you'll be much quicker, and you can add some new skills to your toolkit. So with that in mind, during days 3 through 5, I focused on creating stuff for the game. I made some background music, sound effects, environment tiles, a player character, and an enemy sprite. I wanted to have these essential parts of my game finished early so that I could spend more time focusing on the development throughout the rest of the game jam. On day 6, I began implementing the player character into the game. I spent a lot of time getting the movement and animations to work well to the best of my abilities. Good movement and combat were going to be essential to my game, so it was really important to me that I make a strong foundation here. I created an idle, move, and attack animation for the player. Originally, I had a separate idle animation where the player would face directly downwards after they had stopped moving. But in the end, I felt that it was a bit awkward for the character to stop and turn back to face the same direction every time that they stopped moving, so I got rid of that, which simplified my character animations quite a bit. If you've ever played a game like Vampire Survivors, you'll notice that the character is only ever facing left or right. The upwards and downwards movement stays the same. This means that you can actually cover every movement direction with only one set of animations. If you draw your character facing one direction, you can use code to flip the sprite across the y-axis as they change directions. This drastically reduced the amount of time that I had to spend working in A sprite, creating different animations for different angles, which was a huge plus for me during the time development of a game jam. For days 7 through 9, I worked on implementing the enemies into the game. Since the main focus of this game was going to be on the combat system between the players and the enemies, I spent a lot of the development time working on the interactions between these two. First, I focused on getting their animations, their attacks, their health bars integrated into the game. I wanted to reach a point where that core gameplay loop was mostly completed, and I could continue to improve the game by playing it myself while taking notes about what improvements I could be focusing on next. There was also a lot of work that had to be done in order to create the skills menu for the player to upgrade their abilities. Sometimes you have to sacrifice certain areas of the game because there just isn't enough time to do it all. From that point on until the end of the game jam, I shifted my focus over to polishing the mechanics that I already had in the game. At a certain point, you have to stop adding new things to the game, otherwise you will have a lot of mediocre features instead of a few good ones. This is something that I learned from taking part in a few game jams and making this mistake before. Some of the things that I worked on to polish the game up a bit were adding more visual effects for the combat. A sword swipe trail that clearly demonstrates where the player is currently attacking. Some shaders to add more visual cues when taking damage. Some improvements to the tiles for the world map to make things just a bit more interesting to look at. More visual and audio cues for the death rattle of the enemies. These small details can seem insignificant, but they really go a long ways to make a game more fun and rewarding for the player. I also had to leave time for tracking down and fixing bugs in the game. So many bugs. Even though fixing bugs isn't as glamorous as adding new features, it's really important to the playability of your game. It can be difficult to demonstrate the improvements made to your game when fixing bugs. That can really make it feel like a chore sometimes. But for the user experience, it's so important for your game to not be easily breakable. You really don't want someone trying your game to run into problems that ruin their experience, so don't skip this part. And with that, I had completely run out of time to work on the game. I just barely managed to get my submission in with only 15 minutes to spare before the deadline. If you've ever participated in a game jam, you probably know that feeling of submitting a game you've been working on and feeling down that what you accomplished fell short of your goals. I definitely felt this way. I didn't even complete the fog of war effect that was essential to the theme of my game. I had huge plans for Dark Mart, and I wasn't even close to submitting the game I wanted it to be. But it's okay to feel this way. What I'd suggest doing if you're feeling this way about your game that you are developing is to make a list of all the things you learned during the process of trying to make the game idea you came up with in your head. You might surprise yourself with how many things that you didn't know before but do now. There are a lot of really amazing developers out there, and it can be hard not to feel down comparing yourself to what you see online. But it's all about making progress. A game jam is an opportunity to try something new, aim high, learn new skills. You won't regret gaining more knowledge and improving on your skills. So it's okay to try and fail. Just make sure you learn from the process of doing it. Now I'm planning a post-game jam update for Dark Mart to include a lot of the features that I wasn't able to get to in time. I'm going to get that fog of war effect, more enemies, more skills, more attacks, more everything. It's going to be a big improvement for the game, so please stay tuned to catch that when it gets released. Did you also develop a game for the Pirate Software Game Jam? Or a different game jam recently? Leave me a comment below with the name of the game and the game jam so I can go and take a look at it. If you'd like to help Cyborganic Corporation grow so that I can make better videos more often, I'd love to have your support. Have a great day. I'll catch you next time.